Welcome gentlemen, welcome back to my DCS Flight Sim series. Continuing from where we left off, campaign and Guntrack Academy with the big old fix. Navigation. What is this? We completed the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 missions and we are moving on towards TACAN, ADF and ILS. Let's see what is this all about. Whoa, it's night. Wow, let's see the mission briefing. Navigation with waypoints. Alright, using the radio frequencies below, navigate to the designated VOR station, then perform an instrument landing at Batumi. That will be interesting. Upon a successful touch and go, return to base, RTB to base. That's what it means, RTB, return to base. So we have here various TACANs. I see here 16X at Batumi and Vatsiani, the usual 22.
Welcome back. You can feel free to go through the startup sequence while I go through the spiel for this mission. You'll need the flashlight to see the switches, so activate it using the appropriate key bind, left Alt L.
Left
Flying
Alt
from waypoint
delete.
to waypoint is generally the
Left
best way to get
Alt
from one place to another,
delete.
but it isn't the only way, and there are certain situations where understanding and being able to use radio navigation can make things easier, and in some situations be critical to mission success. For this flight, we're going to learn about the two forms of radio
Alright,
navigation
let's start the
equipped
plane.
on the Hornet, TACAN and ADF. The Automatic Direction Finder, or ADF, is a radio detector that displays the direction from the aircraft to a radio source, and that's it. There is no additional information, so it has a very limited use case. Our first destination will be crossing a door station, which the Hornet will pick up in this mode. The other form is the TACAN, or Tactical Air Navigation, which also provides direction to the station, but also gives you the distance in nautical miles to that station. This is far more useful, as it allows us to get fairly precise position location based on our bearing from the station and the provided distance. This flight will be flown solely with the aid of radio navigation to get you used to using those instruments. Once the aircraft is started up, we'll get the radio aid set up.
Roll left. Flight control. Flight control. Flight controls. Flight controls.
Take off this map. Starting the radio, the radar panel. To the ground here. And also the flare, even if we don't have any weapons. We have to get used to it. Starting the STD heading. Checklist on the left MDI, FCS on the right MDI, ECM, receive, bypass, auxiliary, ALR 67, back to EW page, setting up the chuffs and flare, waiting for the startup procedure for it to finish, pit go, P-bit. Come on, stand by, click on it and choosing manual 1 mode. That's my Why is this lit up? Because I don't need a engine crank button anymore. Why is this lit up? That must be an error. My engines are on, both of them 65%, 30, 38, 30, 03 on the right engine. Interesting. Wings are spread. Let's do some lighting in here. So this is the panel, the lighting panel. Do some flood too. And some beautiful light reddish. Alright, I think we are okay. Let's just dim the HUD, more dimmer, it's more visible. Alright.
Now that we're all started up, be sure you've set your cockpit lighting appropriately for night conditions,
Already
especially
did.
the console and instrument panels, as they'll be impossible to see in the dark. The HUD is also extremely bright at full power at night, so adjust it with the brightness knob until it's comfortable to look at. Our first destination will be a VR station, which we'll fly over to demonstrate approaching and crossing a radio source and what that looks like on the HSI. The first thing we need to do is get the frequency for the station entered into the radio. Find the COM1 channel selector knob on the left side of the UFC just under the numbered keys and rotate it using the mouse wheel until the display reads M for manual. Type in 113600 and press enter to input the frequency into the radio. You'll know you have the correct frequency because a Morse code signal will begin coming in over the radio. This is the signal assigned to the VR station we'll be flying over, so as long as you hear it, you know you're good. Find the ADF switch just to the left of the number keys on the UFC and switch it to COM1 with a right mouse click. This will send the information to the HSI so the station appears on the display once we're within range. It likely already appears on the HSI as an empty circle outside the heading wheel at about 270 degrees. Keep that in mind because we'll be looking for that again once we're in the air.
So this is the ADF switch over here. Switch it to COM1. And I already can hear a buzzing into my head. Let's IP to continue.
Okay, now that we have our first destination sorted, let's get the TACAN set up. After we fly over the VR station using the ADF, we're going to head over to Batumi to practice the instrument approach to an airfield. I'll give you detailed instructions after we pass over the VR station, but go ahead and enter the TACAN code for Batumi, 16X, and don't forget to turn the TACAN on. After that, press the TCN push button on the HSI to select it as the active signal. You won't be able to use it as intended later on if you forget that part.
Alright, so menu and support HSI and push on the TACAN. Oh, I didn't finish my INS to IFA. Let's see what about now. It's still not working. I can't push the TACAN button. Alright. Let's verify the information. 16X on. Now is on. It was off. And now it's selected, see? Alright. IP to continue.
We're all set for the flight. Go ahead and taxi to the runway while I go over how to get to the VR station. Don't forget to turn on your landing/taxi lights using the switch just down and to the left of the flap switch. To get within range of our first destination, you'll turn to a heading of 270 after takeoff and continue until the HSI picks up the station.
So 270.
You'll know this has happened when an empty circle appears outside the heading wheel. Once that happens, turn toward the signal until the circle is at the top of the HSI and follow it until told otherwise. One thing to remember, though, is that radio signals work on line of sight, so if something big is in the way, like a mountain, you may lose the signal until the obstruction is out of the way. Don't panic. Just keep on flying until the signal comes back. This will be a relatively long flight, so feel free to make extensive use of the autopilot to reduce your workload and focus on the instruments. The heading, HSEL, and altitude, vault, functions are the options you should be using, as there are no waypoints for this flight. You can adjust the selected heading with the HDG switch just below the UFC. You can hold the switch left or right until it's on the proper heading, or you can also hold it down for a couple of seconds and the UFC menu will show an HSEL option, at which point you can just type the heading you want with the number pads and press enter. Go ahead and get yourself in the air, turn to a heading of 270 and climb to an altitude of 10,000 feet. You're free to choose your own airspeed, but keep an eye on your fuel consumption. If you're using afterburner the whole flight, you might not have enough fuel to get back. I'll provide further instructions as you approach the door station. Be patient and watch the HSI and everything will be fine.
Alright, so 270, 10,000 feet, Angel 10. Let's start taxiing. I leave the radio on for now. I think I'll take the first exit. Which is right about here. Nice. Let's do a carrier-like turn of the plane right about here. So, nose wheel steering on high. Alright, let's hold it on here. Last minute check. Flaps to auto. Okay, gears are okay. Alright, let's hold on the brakes. Military power. Leave the brakes. And take off. Flaps to auto, gears up. Turn to 270. I will enable the ATC at 350. Wow, no, the ATC is not working. Oh, now it enabled at 380. Alright, let's keep turning towards 270. No lights on the plane. $170. Lights are on. Interesting turn. Turn towards the sunrise. $270 reached. 10,000 feet reached. All right. So this is the altitude. So we have now the HSI in view. TACAN selected. Set up on 40 miles view. Right. Let's just see what about the heading autopilot. Let's see. Ask. Message history. Alright, so where is it? This will be a relatively long file, so feel free to extensive autopilot to reduce workload. The heading, age cell, and altitude bolt functions are the options you should be using. So I know about the bolt, I do not know about the age cell. So let's see. No waypoints, yes I know. You can adjust the selected heading with the HDG switch just below the UFC. You can hold the switch left or right until it's on the proper heading, or you can hold it down and enter it in from the UFC panel. Alright, so, or you can also hold it down and the UFC menu will appear, at which point you can just type the heading you want with the number pads and press enter. I'll do that. So I need to find the button, the HDG switch just below the UFC. So I'll start also the light for that. Alt L. Maybe it's this one here, maybe not. So I clearly can't find it. Oh, this is one here, Jesus. So this is the HDG. Let's keep it on. Selected, and it's not working like this. Heading, come on. Let's select TACAN. Alright, and now push heading. And it's HDL. Let's see, 270, enter. Alright, and autopilot, H cell. It should adjust the course, but it's not. Alright, let's read it again. Alright, so you can hold the switch left or right until the proper heading, or you can also hold it down for a couple of seconds, which I did, and the UFC menu will show an HDG option, at which point you can just type the heading you want with the number pads and press enter. Did that. Go ahead and get yourself into the air. So no further explanation there. Alright, resume. The HSI page I can hear a tone in the background, and I can see this dot here, right? I'm not on heading 270. I'll adjust manually. I clearly can hear the tone. It's like a Morse code. Very shallow. Alright, let's check the message history. Alright, taxi. Alright, to get within range of first, you'll turn to heading 270 after takeoff and continue until the HSI picks up the station. You'll know this has happened when an empty circle appears outside the heading wheel. Empty circle outside the heading wheel. So outside the heading wheel I don't see any empty circles. Alright, so we are okay with that. Once it happens, turn towards the signal until the circle is at the top of the HSI and follow until told otherwise. The radio signals work. I don't know if the mountain come up. Alright, so close it and of course resume it. Alright, let's just verify our position on the map. So our heading is 270, not quite towards Batumi, but getting there. Alright, I should pay attention here to the HSI. Until then, eventually play with the H cell, which I deselected right now. Let's see what happens if I'm clicking this left. I see an empty circle. Alright, so it has nothing to do with the HSA heading button. It just appeared. Here it is. Empty circle. So this is at about 280 maybe, or 275 heading. Alright, let's adjust the course because we don't have any heading autopilot on anyway, and bring the circle towards the center. It might be 280 or 278, more like 278. Yeah, so now the circle is here. So this is the radio signal from the airfield. Alright, let's enable the BALT, the altitude co-pilot, or co-pilot, altitude autopilot, Jesus. Alright, let's see, try to do the heading again, maybe put it in like 278. Alright, hold the heading button down, this one here, and it's changing. And if I'm pushing this button here, it doesn't do anything. So I'll put in 278, enter. This disappears. I'm going back to the autopilot and select H cell, which is not working, but anyways, we are continuing to fly towards the empty little circle here on the HSI panel, MDI. Alright, let's watch the plane for a second. Absolutely no lights. Beautiful. Beautiful. Lovely. Now I can hear more clearly the Morse sound. Now it's clear. Can you hear it? So this is the sound what he was talking about. Probably we are hearing it better because we are getting closer. Let's see the distance. Almost half a trip. But if I'm looking right, Batumi is more to the left, like 10 o'clock, and we are heading towards 12 o'clock, of course. So, not something that I expected. Anyway, let's see the lights here. So the lights here are bright, strobed, the exterior lights. I can see the button. And here also bright. Bright. Oh, my cable. No lights on the exterior of the plane. That's interesting. Alright, let's see this panel here. Flaps, anti-skid log, taxi lights off. Maybe that was the problem. No, that one. Ground exterior power, auto, fire test. These are interior lights. That was a test. Alright. I can't do more than that. What is this here? Still no lights. Let's verify our position on the map. We're getting towards Kutaisi and Snaki. Not even close to Batumi. Let's see some message history. So we are flying towards the VOR station using the ADF. I've got that. We are going to head over Batumi to practice the instrument approach to an airfield. I'll give you detailed instruction after we pass over the VOR station. That means the station just at the airfield, but go ahead and enter the TACAN for Batumi, which is 16X. We are not going after the TACAN, we are going after the VOR, and the VOR is not going towards Batumi. After that, press the TACAN button, push the HSI, and select it as an active signal. So I should also see the TACAN signal. Alright, let's continue. Verify. So the TACAN signal should be a triangle, exterior and interior. So here is a 40-mile range. So if I'm increasing on the map, this would be 67 miles. Or that's the degree. 22. What the? I'm reading this as the Newton meters. What the? This should be 40 miles. Yeah. So we are about 80 miles. Alright, let's verify my reading by changing the HSI scale. So we have 40, let's change it to 80. Yeah, nothing. Oh, we are probably too far to get any signal. Alright, let's speed up time then. Verify the position on the map. Alright, so we have to get here at Batumi, and we are in the middle going towards Kutaisi. At the frequency is 113.600. Verifying the briefing, 113 and 00 Batumi Tower. Alright, so I can't find the VOR frequency in the briefing. Oh, here it is, Kutaisi. So the VOR is from Kutaisi. That would explain a lot. See, that's why you have to read the briefing. You always have to be careful. Kutaisi is just straight ahead. And after we pass its VOR station, which is right here, let's see, is the VOR station listed in the description of the airfield? Yes, it is here, VOR 113.60. Alright, that's nice. That's nice, good to know. Probably after we get over this, we will be redirected towards Batumi with the TACAN navigation. Alright, let's increase the time. Maintaining 11,000 feet, 350 knots. Increasing time now. I actually don't have anything to look at. Oh, there is still more distance to go. But now the VOR signal is clear, sharp and clear. Yeah, I think, yeah, there is a distance from Vaziani, but not from, so we are almost there. Now the circle is moving slightly towards the left here. Let's adjust manually. Oh, the H cell is coming into the play.
Looks like you made it to Kutaisi, so good job.
Good job,
As
good
you
job,
fly
we
over
made
the
it.
station, you'll see the circle suddenly swing around behind you, and you'll know that you've crossed overhead. Once that happens, you can turn off the ADF with the switch next to the UFC number keys, then go ahead and enter the frequency for the tower at Batumi so we don't have to listen to the Morse code identifier signal anymore. Once that's done, turn to a heading of 270. Remember my comment earlier today about straight-in landings? Well, there are a few exceptions.
Haha, like
While
this
nearly
one.
all our landings in this course will be a practice of the case.
Yeah, look, the circle is going around.
Aircraft carrier,
See?
Night landings will be for practicing the case 3 recovery.
So we just
which
passed
involves
over the
straight-in
VOR
landing of the
signal.
carrier.
Let's switch
Case
off the
3 is
ADF.
used at night and during inclement weather because the visual cues necessary for the Case 1 procedures are difficult or impossible to see. Since you need to know how to perform a Case 3 recovery, we're going to do an approximation of that every time we land at night. Press IP to continue.
Alright, I turned off the ADF, but the signal still didn't shut off. Let's see message history. So he says, looks like you made it to Kutaisi. As you fly over, you see the circle going behind, which we saw. You'll know that we cross overhead. Yes, I know. Once that happens, you can turn off the ADF with the switch next to the UFC number keys. I already did that. Then go ahead and enter the frequency for the tower at Batumi. So changing the frequency will deafen the Morse code, not turning off the ADF button. Alright, the frequency was 113 dot, and that's it, 113000, not 113.600, which was the Morse code from the VOR. Alright, let's close this and continue. Alright, so I shut down the ADF and now I'm going at the radio button. See, this is making the noise, the 113.6. We have to clear this and write it in 113000, enter. Now it should stop, of course, and we should have connection with the Batumi airfield. If I'm taking this F5, asking some directions with F5, let's say Batumi F4, that's 260. Request azimuth.
Colt 1. Request navigation assistance.
It can't hear me. Oh, it can. 224 heading. So let's do that. So right now we have on our HSI also selected the TACAN navigation. Let me just shut down this annoying light. Alright, we have the TACAN selected, and also the TACAN appeared just here to the left. I told you it's a triangle on the exterior and the interior of the HSI circle, right? And if we ask directions from the Batumi airfield, it also directed us towards 244. What was that, 244? Because I don't remember. Close this, F5, ATC, that's the tower, and selecting Batumi with F4 and selecting request azimuth.
Request navigation assistance.
Navigation assistance coming up right now, 217, breaking off towards 217. ATC disconnected, 217. Alright, this is 217, ATC still connected, that's a good one. And we also have a range here because of the TACAN navigation. And the range is here, 44.2.1 BTM from Batumi. Alright, let's verify on the map, the physical map. Batumi is here and we are going 217 because we are going to land from the sea. From the seaside. Right, so you're going this way, coming here to reach the straight-in landing. Verify once again the message history. Remember my content earlier about straight-in landings. While nearly all our landings will be case 1, night landings will be for practicing the case 3 recovery, which involves a straight-in landing to the carrier. So case 3 involves a straight-in landing to the carrier. Case 3 is used at night and during inclement weather, because the weather cues necessary to the case 1 procedures are difficult or impossible to see. Since you need to know how to perform a case 3 recovery, we're going to do an approximation of that every time we land at night. So case 3 recovery landing at Batumi, approaching right now. "39 miles and counting down." Let's increase the time. But first think about things. Everything, it's alright, speed, it's alright. Let's lower our altitude a little bit. Getting it towards 10,000. 5 degrees. It's not that much. Alright, 10,000 achieved. Leveling off. Autopilot and barometric altitude. Alright, increase time. Control Z. 30 miles. $20 miles. Whoops.
It'll be pretty hard to see the runway without them. You should already have the tower frequency in the radio, so use your COM1 call radio menu key bind to bring up the communications menu. Select ATC, but to me, inbound to let them know you're coming. They should light up the runway for you.
Yeah, so he's basically saying to contact the tower and to tell them that we are in our route towards the airfield and we need the airfield lights on. So that doing is backslash F5 to contact the ATC, and Batumi is F1 right now, and we select F1 inbound.
Batumi, Colt 1, inbound.
Colt 1, Batumi, fly heading 13647, QFE 29.89, runway 13, departure altitude.
13647 for runway 13, pattern attitude. So he's giving us information for aligning with the airfield. Oh, exit F10. So we should break in right now because we are passing it already. Oh, of course. I'm flying in the dark. Let's bring the TACAN back to its rightful place. And lower some altitude too. Alright. So now here TACAN, it's where it's supposed to be. Okay, decelerating a little bit. And we also have this little needle here, see, at point 100 heading, 100 degree. Right, it's
Okay,
helping
we're
us.
about 10 miles from the runway. Go ahead and begin a 600 to 900 foot per minute descent toward the runway. As you do so, slow to less than 250 knots and then configure the aircraft for landing, being sure to control your descent rate. Unfortunately, the Hornet doesn't have an ILS system that works with airfields, so we have to do a bit of math as we approach the runway. It's pretty easy really. Just multiply your distance in miles by 3 and add 2 zeros. So at 5 miles you should be at about 1,500 feet, and at 2 miles you should be at about 600. Do your best to stay on the TACAN localizer and control your descent rate with the throttle. Once the runway is in sight, it's all visual from there. As you approach the airfield, you'll be handed off to the tower, so simply select the Request Landing option to finish up with the radio. Once you can see the runway, you can switch to a completely visual approach and ignore the TACAN information. Once you touch down, add full power and get back into the air, then turn to a heading of 076 for further instructions.
So we do touch and go. Right, we are too high. Oh my God, look where the airfield is. Alright, let's go and do a turnaround. so that we lose altitude. 5,000 feet.
Altitude. Altitude.
3,000. We are over the sea, don't have to worry about mountains right now. Just trust the instruments. All right. Gears down, flaps to full. Contact the tower, request landing, F1.
Tumi, Colt 1, request landing.
Air brake on.
Cold 1. Batumi, check landing gear. Runway 13.
And that's how it's done.
All right.
Go ahead and add full throttle, get back in the air, and turn to 076.
Flaps to auto. Gear up. 076 heading. All right. Slow down a little bit. So there was a mistake. Seems like the message come in a little bit too late, and my altitude was too high. By the time I think multiplied by 3,
We're ready to head back to Vatsiani now, and this time it's all up to you to get yourself on the ground. Go ahead and enter the TACAN frequency for the airfield, and once you're close enough you can set the CRS switch to the correct heading. The heading listed on the map is 135, but remember you need to correct for that with the standard deviation value for the Caucasus. As
that's
you approach
6
the airfield,
degrees.
give yourself enough room to get lined up with the course line at 3,000 feet so you can...
Alright, let's see. Stop this. So we need to go by our own back to Vatsiani. He says go ahead and enter the TACAN frequency for the airfield, which is 22X. Already did that. But and once you're close enough, you can set the CRS switch to the correct heading. Now nobody told us what this CRS is, right? The CRS, it's a alignment procedure with the airfield. So if we with our plane are getting close towards the airfield, let's just say in a perpendicular manner, so we are not parallel with the airfield, then we can't land perpendicularly on the airfield, horizontally speaking, not vertically. So we need a alignment. So we have to align ourselves just as we did before with the Batumi airfield. So we came from the sea, right, and landed straight on the airfield, right? But if we came from the diagonal or perpendicular position, you can't land. Actually, there is no such airfield that has every degree as an airfield. That airfield should be a round circle, and that's not realistic. So this is the CRS. So the CRS, oh come on, my throttle is going. Alright, let's see if I can bring out this one. Yeah. So this is This is the airfield alignment. If we are coming with a plane from this direction, we can't land it like that. We have to go around the landing from the east or from the west side. And then the CRS is a virtual line which is in alignment with the airfield, on which we have to align before getting on the airfield. And then by the time we get on the airfield, we will be aligned with it. So that's the CRS. All right, let's see what he's saying. So he's saying switch to the correct heading. The heading listed on the map is 135, but remember you need to correct for that with the standard deviation value for the Caucasus. So in each region of the world, major regions, there is a deviation of the magnetic poles, and for the Caucasus this is 6 degrees as I remember, so it will not be 135, it will be something like 129. So we need to also to enable the CRS, which we do not know how to do. As you approach the airfield, give yourself enough room to get line up with the course line. This one here, 129, not 135. So align at 3,000 feet so you can begin the descent at about 10 miles. Don't forget to set your altimeter to RDR because it's a mountain area, not a sea area. Forgetting to do so will likely result in a crash. Yes, probably. Here are a few hints to increase your chances. Ensure TACAN frequency is set, yes, and it's enabled on the HSI, which it is. Remember the standard deviation, which is 6 degrees. Ensure that the RDR altimeter is on the RDR, which is not. I'll have to put it on the RDR. All right.
And begin your descent at about 10 miles. Don't forget to set your altimeter to radar mode. Forgetting to do so will likely result in a crash. Here are a few hints to increase your chances. Ensure your TACAN frequency is set and that you have it selected on the HSI. Remember the standard deviation rule when setting your runway course. Ensure that your radar altimeter is set so you don't hit the ground. Be aware that there are mountains in the area around Vatsiani, and it's too dark to see them, so keep a close eye on that radar altimeter. As you approach the airfield, be sure to contact them on the tower frequency so they turn on the runway lights. Give yourself enough room to get on the course line and be settled at about 3,000 feet before you hit 10 miles. Until you're more experienced, 30 miles is a good distance to use while approaching the course line. Remember the multiply by 3 rule as you approach the runway. Switch to visual once you can clearly see the runway. Night landings are straight in, so just take her on home and park it in Space 1. Good luck, and see you on the ground.
Alright, so we are now about 7,000 feet. Heading 076, he said. I don't remember. Let's see, message history. 076, yeah. Resume. This is not an easy mission at all, especially for a beginner. So if you are beginning, just press ESC as many times as you need. Read it over, think it over, and try to manage it. Imagine that you're up there by yourself and you need to do it, because otherwise you'll crash. And that way, I guarantee you will succeed. 500. I'm speeding. Maybe some cop will stop me. All right. Okay, let's see. TACAN set, RDR set. As you approach the airfield, be sure to contact the tower so they turn on their lights. Give yourself enough room to get on the course. Remember to multiply by 3. Switch to visual once you see the runway. night landings are straight in, so just take it home and to park place number 1. All right, but we still need to input our CRS, which nobody said how it is done. So Vaziani is here. It's CRS, it's probably 135. Let's see, because we can verify. If you take this line, just push the middle of the mouse button and you will see, look, it's written there 137, 136. See, now it's 163 degrees. Now it's 136 or 135. That's the heading. That's the CRS of the airfield, from which we subtract 5 or 6 degrees, which is already written there, 129 CRS, right? Going back to the plane, and let's enable some autopilots. Yeah, I can't see nothing, it's pitch black. This is all instrument flying. Alright, enabling the ATC, as you can see, as speed autopilot, and enabling the bolt, so the altitude autopilot. Verify the TACAN. TACAN is 22 and it's on, and it's not yet perceivable. We are too far away. Alright, let's try to fiddle with the CRS stuff. Nobody told us what is that and how to do it. So I already told you twice in this clip till now. So we have to align with the airfield. Let me just graphically show it to you in comparison to our position. So our position will be this line. So we'll end up here, and we will be a little bit off the course of the airfield because it's Vaziani. So our plane its nose should be this way, but our nose at this point should point this way, align with the Vaziani towards 129 degrees, right? Okay, let's try to enable that CRS. Let's see if I still remember how to do that. So where it is, it should be a button. Yeah, here is a button. Let me just start the flashlight. Here's the CRS button. So you can do it two ways. You can click on it, click, and one big a line will appear on the HSI. After the TACAN, we will get the TACAN signal, so not before. Yeah, so we need to see the TACAN here, which we can't see yet because we don't have the signal, it's too far away. But after the TACAN, the triangle will appear, a triangle like this but stationary. It should appear somewhere around 12 degrees right here, and then we should enable the CRS. So two ways to do the CRS. Click it continuously till you turn the line aligned with the airfield, so till it is at 129 degrees, or keep it pushed down, and then it will turn by itself, and we'll stop pushing when it reaches the position. All right, let's verify the position. Altitude is on autopilot. Altitude is on autopilot, and the heading, it's not on the autopilot, but the ATC is. So we have 170 heading. It should be good, but we should do it to 180. it would be better, because anyway we get out somewhere on the left side of the airfield, so this should compensate 080, and I will watch it. Alright, graphical, here it is. So now we are heading exactly towards Vaziani. I corrected the course from 070 heading to 080. Let's increase the time. Okay, verify the map. So now we are moving pretty fast. As you can see. Whoops. What happened? Oh no. I think I crashed, but how? Oh my god, what happened? What happened? Because I had 8,000 feet altitude. Jesus. Back into it. Seems like I crashed it once again in the same place. Can you imagine that? At about 8,600 feet. It seems like there's a range of mountain area that's exactly in our way. So this time I climbed till 13,000, almost 14,000 feet. Of course enables the speed autopilot, the ATC, at 375. Rushed it a little bit. Alright, so getting again a little bit of recap. Things going towards Vaziani. I entered the heading, autopilot heading at 80. Alright, enable it right here, H cell, and the bolt, the altitude autopilot. What the hell is wrong with me? So at 40,000 feet I don't think there are any mountains around here. Alright, so getting close with TACAN. Let me verify TACAN. Yeah, 22X for Vaziani. Heading towards it, is still far away. The scale is still at 10 miles from the landing at Batumi. I'll change it back to 40. 40 is enough. And I'm waiting for the TACAN to show up, the TACAN triangle. Alright, everything else should be in order, even the CRS. Holding on. The alignment with the airfield, which should be 129, enter. So this should be visible once we can see the TACAN. Alright, let's verify the position on the map. So this time I will not crash, I promise you that. Alright, so this is somewhere at the place around here, I think just around here, where I crashed twice. Incredible. This is, I think, it's not shown on the map here, but I think it's very tall. It's about above 8,000 feet, 9,000 feet. I should keep it on above 10,000 feet. 10,000 feet for sure. I'm 14 right now, and I'm heading towards Vaziani on autopilot. Let's increase the time. So I think the TACAN is here, right here. Let's put it back on time. Yeah, the TACAN is here, look. This triangle here. This is the TACAN. We are still flying towards 80. Let's change that from the heading button. Keep it pushed on and change it to 75 degrees. Enter. Alright, now the autopilot is adjusting the heading 75. Let's verify it on the map. Still 14,000 feet, so I'm fucking safe. Oh my god. So this is the airfield here. Let's see. Yeah, I'm right on it, so I should be somewhere around here. So I still have to correct the heading a little bit. F1, let's correct it to 70 degrees. So keep the heading button pushed and correct it to 70. Enter. Maybe even to 65. What do you say? Okay, 65. I love this more because the explanation for this is that the alignment with the airfield, which is disposed like this, alright, we should come from the left, from the west side of it, and if I want to do that, I have to go to get out here on left, a little bit left of the actual heading. So the heading is around 80 degrees, so I should go about 65, and after that bank right and align with the CRS. Let's get more closer. Yeah, increase the time. So now I'm good. As you can see, I will get out around somewhere here. So from here I will bank right and align with the CRS. Let's go back to the plane, and now you can see also the TACAN signal here, and let's put in the CRS. Keep the button, it's already programmed in. So as you can see, airfield is aligned to the right, so we're gonna get here. Alright, we should start lower the altitude because I can see, right, the altimeter is on RDR, and let's decouple from the autopilot, from the altitude autopilot, and decouple also from the heading autopilot. Okay, start descending a little bit. Let's stop the ATC too. So we are manual, fully manual. We can see the city right here. And once we reach the CRS line, I can see that the autopilot was still on, even if I disengaged it. That's a really bad. Slow down. Let's put in some airspeed brake. So we are going down. Once we hit the line, I'm idle on throttle, airspeed off, and starting to turn right. And meanwhile contact the tower, which is not this, which is this here, F5, Baziani is F3 inbound,
1 inbound.
6,000 feet.
Code 1. Vazani, fly heading 316.
Look, there's the airfield.
UFE 28.34. Runway 13 to pattern altitude.
We are almost aligned. That's just great. So actually now we are officially switching to visual. Put in some air brake too,
Cleared for visual.
and request landing.
Colt 1, request landing.
Altitude.
Flaps to full.
Code 1. Vazani, clear to land. Runway 13.
So everything is on. Airspeed, flaps, everything. We are slowing down and accelerating manual. Gears down. Trim up hardly. Trim down right now. Trim down. Trim down, come on. Trim up, accelerating a little bit. Trim up, accelerating. Trim up, accelerating a little bit. Gears are down. Trim up, accelerating, accelerating, and idle, idle.
You would have missed the carrier on that one.
Yeah, probably.
If you have room to slow down, exit the runway and taxi to parking spot 1. If not, you'll need to go all the way back around to try the approach again.
So if you have room to slow down, we are taxiing. Airspeed off. That was enough. I crashed twice because of that mountain area. Crashed it twice. Yep, did that. Alright, let's see a little bit of my message history. So if not, you'll need to go all the way back around and try the approach again. Didn't understand much of it, but let's resume it. Here's the exit at the yellow board. Throttle to idle and braking.
Head back to parking spot 1 and shut down the aircraft.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get 50 for this. That was a very interesting landing that I did over there. It's much more difficult at night than during the day. Let's accelerate time a little bit. No, you're wiggling again. Why you're wiggling? Speed is good. Okay. Throttle to idle. And heading towards parking place number 1, which is right about here. Maybe we got past it a little bit. Let's just see. Yeah, exactly on number 1. Yeah, almost. Well, let's shut down the plane. Radio off. TACAN off. MDI is off, AMPCD and the HUD off and battery off.
Excellent work.
And
Get
the
some
engines
rest because
off.
Training continues tomorrow morning.
Wow. Lesson completed after the 3rd try, because I crashed twice, into the mountain at over 8,000 feet but I was not at 9,000 feet, so I will give it a slack. Alright, let's see, it is 50 or it is 100. So in this lesson, lots to learn about CRS, about the heading autopilot, the alignment is still 100C, so, and mission success with 100. So it was plenty, and it was a long flight for me, more for me than for you, because I did it 3 times, so 2 times and a half actually. Oh wow. Yeah, thank you for flying with me, thank you for your patience, for subscribing. This was Vince, I'm bugging out. Till the next time. Ciao.